Well, good morning. It's 10 o'clock. Didn't even wait until 1 after. Oh. And it's time for relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons. This is Wednesday, Submarine Wednesday. It's getting to be really close to being one of the last Submarine Wednesdays because the submarine is getting much closer to being done. Certainly closer to being finished than when I started. Which is a good thing, because if it had been less close to being finished than when I started, it would be very discouraging. But no, it's almost done. And what I'll be doing today is not painting. Sorry, got irritation in my arm there. What I'm going to be doing today will be filing and sanding and getting things ready to paint, spray paint off screen. Because the parts that are left now are this, which is, here, I'll show this to you how this works. This is the not detailed part of the submarine. I know it's pretty, I don't even know if I can get this camera up high enough to show it the whole thing, because this is large. It's like 18 inches long, and then with the rest of it, it's like 2 feet long, this whole model. So anyway, there's that. But it sits on this stand, which I cemented together a while ago, and I filled in the seams, okay, including this one up here. And now those seams, the filler needs to be sanded down. We'll see how that goes. Sometimes what happens is that the filler gets in the seam, but it doesn't fill it. Well, I might have to do a second coat. Anyway, this is the stand, and the way this works is that this, on these little hinges, which break easily, it folds down like that, and then on this bit here, that entire submarine with all of the interior detail gets cemented onto that, and it's supposed to stay there and not fall off and break. So this closes up on it so that it looks like a submarine. The two parts of the hull, they don't match. It isn't going to look like one single submarine once it's, closed up like that. It isn't how it works. It just isn't. These parts aren't that well put together. But yeah, that's how it goes. And so this is part of what I'll be sanding down and filing. The parts, didn't line up perfectly. They never do. So there'll be just a whole bunch of doing that, and it'll make white dust and it'll be a mess. This is the very aft of the submarine. And this was also two parts, and I filled in the seams, and I'll be sanding those down. Okay, getting that done. The other thing I'll be doing is I'll be fitting the propeller. I painted that. It's a bronze painted propeller. I'll be fitting that on before I cemented this to the hull of the submarine, and this gets cemented on back there. Okay, once it's all sanded and filed, and once that's cemented on there, then I fill in the gap behind it. Okay, and then the messiest, maybe the most difficult part, I don't know how it will go, is this got the nose, the very bow of the submarine got cemented on Monday, and I need to fill in the crack behind it. The plastic on the very bow was thicker than the plastic on the hull, so they don't match up exactly. So I'll have to decide, how I'm going to get those to be smooth, so that there's no gaps in it. And then this piece here, the top here with these where the missile top hatches are, didn't fit into the hull very well at all. And so I'm going to have to try to do a bunch of shaping on that. Anyway, so what I'm going to be doing today is working with these needle files Okay, getting things kind of shaped down so that they're all kind of even. And then I'll be using this very fine grit sandpaper, emery cloth, I guess it's sandpaper really, to polish it. And if I don't have enough of this, I've got a whole pile of this, this is a whole kit that goes all the way from, this will grind anything to 3000 grit, which is incredibly fine polishing cloth. I think this is like 1600, so yeah. Be pulling out some of these sheets. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see how much I need and how it's going and whether it's polishing and yeah. So this isn't relaxing painting as much as it's kind of getting the model to look okay. This round one here, because I'm working on a curved surface, and I'm just getting the major excess off. And now let's see what I've got to deal with here. What I find is that when two parts come together like this, they never really line up very well, and there's always a seam. So, for example, in the hull of the submarine, there are 16 missile tubes, each of which is made up of two halves. It's good to have two halves. You don't want to have like three halves, or 2.5 halves, or 1.7 halves, anything like that. It's good to have two halves, and I did. Much of a gap here, but there's just a discontinuity. One side doesn't match up quite with the other, which leaves a ridge. So I'm just filing it down so that the ridge disappears. And it looks like one piece then. And then I'll sand it down with that very fine grained sandpaper once I get the ridge to disappear. So I'm going to have to find some things to talk about, because if I'm not painting... Oh, and that's not even on screen. Good grief. There we go. Let's see what I'm doing here. What I should have is the camera like down here somewhere, but it doesn't do that. Anyway, you'll just have to trust me that that's what I'm doing here, is getting rid of the ridge where one half doesn't quite match up with the other. That's just a thing that happens with models. So I'm going to be doing this for like the first half of the stream today, and then after doing this for a while, and maybe I'll finish it. I want to finish this at least, because after I get this stand prepared, once I get this prepped and the ridge isn't there anymore, then I can spray paint this entire thing in gray. It's a little bit, it's actually the primer that I've been using on the model. It turns out that the gray primer that I've been using is like the perfect color for the hull. This is kind of nice. So essentially I'll be priming it, but the primer will actually be the base coat. actually be the final coat, except for the stand. I've got a different kind of a brownish, a dark brown, almost bronzy kind of color. It's not metallic, but it's kind of bronzy looking, that I'll be using for the stand, so that the stand isn't the same color as the hull, because that would just be kind of pointless, I guess. I don't know, silly. So you can see the discoloration here, where there's a rough surface. That means that the ridge is gone. Yeah, this whole thing is so clumsy, and I have to be careful because it's fragile as well. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting kind of thing to try to keep it on camera. It's so big and klutzy. Yeah, I'll keep trying. I keep trying to keep what I'm doing on camera. And at the same time, I'll mutter on about something, but what I'll be muttering on about at the moment is that once it's interesting down here, and up here, that the one half that was higher down here is lower up here. This is flat, so I just use this and file it away until it's all even. Yeah, that's a good squeaky noise. I don't know if you can hear that on the stream or not, but it's a really annoying squeaky noise. Basically, I know that it's even when the whole thing is the same color. Okay, and then try not to break it. Down at the bottom here, this is a flat surface, sort of flat. Do the matchup, which they really don't want to. You just have to say that this model just does not really want to cooperate, actually, really at all. Basically, I can feel it as much as see it. Okay, so just just to keep doing different things. I want to get the polishing paper out. Yeah. Try to get rid of the scratches in the file. I use the file because I wanted to move a lot of plastic, and this is supposed to get rid of the scratch marks. Good. And in the process, what's happening here is that the seam that's supposed to be really, really well cemented together actually came apart a little bit. That was good. Well, there's still a little ridge there, but it's not like what it was. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get this like perfect here. It's still going to look like two pieces of plastic kind of stuck together, I'm afraid. It's just giving that impression, you know? But you're on it. Okay, what I'm going to need to do, I didn't want to do this, but I have to get this out. The seam actually came apart. This one, too. For whatever reason, this plastic does not dissolve in cement. Very well. I can feel the ridge there. It's really hard to see it though. I don't see. And even with the file, I don't feel it, but I feel it with my finger. Come across the other direction. Oh yeah, okay. This side's higher than the other one. So it's kind of like the opposite of what I thought it was. It's interesting, but not, you know, not that helpful to. Well, at least I haven't broken anything yet. It's kind of a nice thing. A little bit bigger grit sandpaper because when I was using that file, I was taking away a lot of that plastic, and it just left a lot of these little bumps and little scratches in here. I'm going to try some of this other stuff here. Which one will I use? I'm going to use 1500. Is 1000 and 2000, and I'm going to cut some pieces off. I'll be right back. Physics. $1,000 grit. So this should This should... I'm going to do here. I'm going to put a whole lot of 1000s on here because I want to use little pieces of it. There, numbers. So I'm going to take a smaller piece of this so I can manipulate it more easily. Let's see how this works on the scratches. He's fading into the plastic pretty well. Yeah, that's going pretty well. This is good. This is good stuff. Okay, and then I'm going to take a piece of the 2000 here and make it even polishier. Up here, there's a bit here. All right, so here's one side of it, and the seams are pretty much gone. Yeah, I can't really feel them that well, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to do this bit up here. I have no idea what's going to happen up here, really. But it's this. And then what? This is slightly coarser sandpaper. It's like 180 grit. I'm using it to get the stuff that's on the plastic that isn't filling a seam, okay? So we'll get that off and get it down to the area where there's just this little seam that goes across the top of this, which actually will show a little bit. I didn't think it would, but then I played around with it a little bit and it does. And you can kind of see where it is because the white filler is not disappearing from that little gap. I'm going to use this 1000 stuff and just polish it. And then I'm not going to mess anymore with it. As long as it's like even. It's like feathering, drywall stuff, right? I think that'll do. No, I have this side. I'm right-handed, so everything is right-handed, which means that it's really awkward at this point. Start up here where it's straightforward. And I just have to be really careful with this because I don't want to snap the hinges off. One of them was already snapped off before I even started building it. If somebody was probably playing around with it. you know, trying to see how the hinge worked. This was not a pristine model, it was an already started model. And the parts didn't fit perfectly well. I found out why. And they snapped one of the hinges off, and then that made a mess. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here, and you can't see what I'm doing. There's no way I can get the camera there. I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm worrying away at the, here, you can kind of see it this way. After the seam between the two parts there. Making it disappear. And it's disappearing up here pretty well. And sound down here. I don't know why I'm getting that. But down here, I need to set it down. Down at the bottom, the parts just don't fit at all. They do at the top, but not at the bottom. Kind of odd. And then down at the very base here, what you can sort of see as I move this around, they're not even at all. Even less than on the other side, which was very much not even. But at least here I know which side is higher because I wasn't paying attention on the other side. So once I'm done with this bit, okay, and I polish it with the fine grit sandpapers that I've got here. Those keep the good stuff. Once I'm done with this part, I'm going to work on the aft, the part where the dive planes and the propellers go. Okay, this is going to take. This involves removing a fairly large amount of plastic because the parts just don't line up at all. The point of this file works kind of like a wedge. So it takes off a fair amount of plastic all at one bit. Now, it's probably not going to end up being perfect, but it's going to end up looking better than it was before. This would be easier to do if I didn't have to worry about it breaking. But I do have to worry about it breaking because it could break. Okay, well, there. I use this 1000 stuff. When I get the other part out, the tail, you'll be able to see more of it because it's much smaller. And being smaller, I'll be able to, like keep it on camera more often than this because this is just big and awkward. And when I do the hull, the part of the submarine that's, the real part of the model with all the interior detail, that'll be interesting because there's just a lot of right around the missile hatch. Okay, right around where the missile hatch is. That's going to be quite a challenge because that did not fit on the hull at all. I'm looking at like building it up and feathering it to make a smooth transition because there's almost like a 64th of an inch. Anyway, you'll see it later. I hope it will not end in tears because I'll be working with a part of the model that is all full of tiny little pieces that I don't want to come out. This I can kind of grab onto, right? That other one, there's no place to hold it. It's going to be, anyway, it'll be a challenge. Okay, well, there's a little bit of a discontinuity there, but it's not a seam. Okay, it's not like a crack. But even though this isn't perfect, it's going to look better than it would have if I hadn't done this. As I tell myself that, try to get some of this dust off. I will clean this off much more thoroughly before I spray paint it. But right, that's there. So it's much less obvious that there were two parts there. So this is the thing that folds down like that, and then the major piece goes on here. Like I said, I'll be painting this whole thing the primer color. And then masking off the hull, and then spray painting the base a different sort of brownish color. So I'm going to get this out of here. These here are my tools. Instruction set. And then this box. Spent a lot of time with this box here. This is the parts box, okay, where all the little pieces would go. If you look back at some of the YouTubes of the earlier episodes when I was putting together one of the compartments, all the pieces for the compartment were in here, and I'd paint a little detail, and eventually they would all disappear from here and go into the submarine. Well, this parts box will still play a role because the Apollo model that I'll be working on next eventually, sometime, probably, on a Wednesday, because it'll be Apollo Wednesday. The parts box there's lots of little parts. I'll just say that. It's not just like a capsule. It's not just that. It's got the lunar excursion module. It's got interior detail in the service module. So it's going to be like the submarine to some extent, in that there will be a lot of little internal detail parts with fold down panels. And you'll see that after the break. So this story here is that these have all sorts of weird internal, if you can see it, internal stuff here. And then the two halves come together, and just like the other one, the halves don't match up perfectly, and so clean it up. I can just do it with the sandpaper. I wonder if this will work. Let me try it. No, it's not going to. Too much on there. Well, at least it's on screen. I can keep this on screen. There's a little ladder that fell out when I was trying to get things done yesterday, and the hatch at the top was on the top deck. Okay, that's where the missile comes out. These are the missiles, and in this box is the propeller and a couple little dive planes. So I'm going to put those out of the way, because I won't be dealing with those until later. The missile's supposed to have some little black stripes put on it, so I'll probably do that. And then I need to fit the propeller onto the shaft here. I want to make sure it fits nicely. I'm not going to cement it on until this whole thing is done and the hull is painted. So it'll be like the very last thing done on the submarine model is the installation of the propeller. But I want to make sure it fits. Okay, so there's like a little ridge across the top there. So I'm going to have to file this down like I did before. The ridge disappears. The filler was supposed to fill in any gap there. I don't know if it is or not. Pretty good there. It doesn't look good here. I don't know what's going on. What's happening there is that the ridge is, I don't know if you can see it, the unfiled plastic is shinier. Like there's still a little gap there that didn't get filled in with the gap filler. That's disappointing. Well, this will all have to be filled in again when it's attached to the hull. There'll be a seam all the way around here, and it's going to be a messy seam because as I can see this now that the plastic on this end isn't even even. There's a lump there. That's going to be an issue later. Good, the filler worked there. It filled in a little gap that was gapping. This is like got quadrants. There's the front top and the back top, fore and aft, and then the other side. So there's like 4 of these bits that need to be cleaned up. This is a 2000. I've got 3000. I bet with the 3000, it would make it all shiny, just like the original plastic. I don't think I need to go that far. You can see here that it's doing a nice job of polishing. Okay, so this is a quarter of it. Oh my. Okay, I almost forgot about this. I did. There's dimples. Okay, I'm going to fill those in after I'm done sanding it. If you can see it there, there's a dimple here. Okay, that's not part of the submarine hull. The hull didn't have a dimple. The problem is that if you can see it on the other side, there's a tab, and the tab, when they injection molded it, there wasn't enough plastic there to fill both the tab and that, and so on both sides there's this obvious dimple that I will fill in with this, and it'll get sanded down. So this is annoying. Okay, well, it moves okay, but anyway, I'm not gonna bother explaining all of that. It's just the way it's hinged on the inside. It's they're rubbing up against each other, and I could have fixed that before I cemented it together, but I didn't know that there was a problem to fix, so I didn't fix the problem I didn't know about. And it's not a flaw, it's just that they kind of catch on each other, which makes it important to be careful at moving them. Well, the filler did its job there. You can see a little white line. See a little white line? That means that there was a gap that the filler filled. Yay, filler. And these are done. When this is done, two things. Like I mentioned, I have to fit the propeller on and then fill in the dimples that I forgot to fill in when I put the filler on. And it would have been a good thing to have done that, because then the filler would have set and I could sand it down and the dimples wouldn't be there. But now it's another step. One more step I need to take before this is done. This submarine has been like that. There's always something. Like the little ladder here, like that little ladder there fell off, and it's going to be very frustrating to put it back on. I know that because it was very frustrating to put it on originally. So yeah, I'll probably, if I could say bad words on this stream, I probably would do that while I was doing that. But this is like it's supposed to be a PG-13 stream, so I can't say bad words. I'll just go, I'll make a groany noise. I'm pretty good at that. Okay, now this side. It's the same process here, just getting the filler off of where it doesn't fill anything, and then making even the seam. Skilled at things. If my hand were a little steadier and all of that, it would be less of this cleaning up to do, but it is what it is, and what it is that not that steady skill. I do need to remember to clean this off thoroughly before painting it, because there's a lot of filler dust and stuff, and it's clingy. cleaned up pretty well. I might make, depending on how this looks back here, I might make this the top. I don't know if there's a choice about which one's the top and which is the bottom. They should be interchangeable. They should be. Doesn't mean they are. So I have to fill in these dimples, but I think I can do that. It shouldn't delay cementing this onto the hull. In fact, I could fill those in when I fill in the rest of this. Wow, that's not even. There's just a lump there. That's not going to fit. Yeah, so when I put this in and cement it on, there's going to be a gap all around the outside of this, it's around where the two pieces come together. I can probably fill that in and sand it down at the same time if I remember. Like here, the two sides don't really match up. On the front part, they matched up really well, but on the back part, they don't. Here, where it's hard to get at, they match up poorly. Oh yeah, I forgot to have a monologue. So busy cleaning it up, I forgot. I didn't have a monologue going. Anyway, yeah, you can see that for those of you who have been watching Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons for a good long time. Oh yeah, chat. Hi guys, thanks for joining in. Sorry, I usually have a large print chat screen over to the side, but it's not been working this week. So in my nearsightedness, I can tell that there was a chat, but I couldn't read it. So thanks for joining in. What I'm doing are the final bits of the Renwall cutaway missile launching, the Polaris prototype launching submarine. This is a model of the very first submarine that launched ballistic missiles from underwater. And you're not seeing much of it here. This is the very, very tail end of it, the dive planes and rudder. And I assembled this, and now I am cleaning it up so that I can attach it to the hull of the submarine a little bit later, and do more filling and sanding and things. So basically I'm trying to get rid of the seams so they don't show when I paint it, and that turned out okay, kind of surprisingly. It's always a surprise when things turn out okay on Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons. So this thing gets cemented onto the back of the submarine, the aft of it. So I need to, before I'm done with this bit and move on to the next part, since it's out, parts don't fit on this submarine, and they break. Like this propeller had been broken twice. Okay, and it goes on here like this. Oh, that's going to fit just fine. That's good. I don't have to worry about that. I do need to remember to paint these. These are little planes that go up on the sail or the conning tower. And those need to be painted, and I'll probably forget and then have to do those later. But that propeller will be one of the very last things that's assembled on the submarine. So this I'm just going to kind of wipe down a little bit. This came out okay. And put this aside, put these aside for the moment. I'm going to have to bring out the real part of the submarine, point of it all. And it's long, and I need this entire space because it needs to set down somewhere and not be broken. Because I don't want to break it. I'll just say that. I'm going to need this in a little while if I do work on the missiles. So I'm going to take just a quick moment here to kind of set things aside and make enough room for the hull of the submarine, which is 2 feet long. Okay, I'll move this up as high as I can, try to give a wide angle view, and I'll show you what I have gotten into, okay? Okay. So the whole point of all of this is this. You can see almost all of it. I'll move it around a little bit. This is the cutaway submarine. There is a lot of it. Okay, lots of little pieces. Ended up with lots of detail. Okay, you can see the kitchen and the cabinets and the dials and the controls and the missile tubes, which are pretty boring and didn't go together very well, and the cutaway reactor and the machine room. Okay, all of that. Well, what I want to do, we'll see how this goes. What I want to do is paint the other side of this, okay, which is kind of crappy plastic. What I want to do is paint that the hull color, which is actually this color here. This part did not fit. You can see there's big seam stuff here. I'm going to be spending some time trying to feather this in. It's going to need more than one coat. I cemented on the nose, the bow of the ship on Monday for the second time because it fell off after the first time. You can just see that manipulating this without, I don't really want to touch the inside of it, okay? Because that will make a mess. I could break stuff off, and I've done that already as I've broken things off. Even pulling the tape off becomes a challenge. This was holding on the bow of the submarine while the cement set. Okay, there. But you can see there's a seam here. I want to put that plastic putty on that, and then some other time, not now because it has to set up, that will get sanded down. And then this bit here goes on there. Now, you can see that doesn't fit very well either. In fact, it's fitting very poorly. What is up with that? There we go. I'll put it on like that. That's how it's going to go. Like that. Okay. That'll get cemented on. And then there's quite a gap here back that has to be filled in. Yeah, and that dimple also. So there. But the main challenge today is to, and this will, like I said, require a second coat probably, is to this deck, this piece of the deck here, which is above the missiles, did not fit into the hull very well at all. Not very well at all. So I'm going to work on that. This will be fairly straightforward, I think. I just have to fill in the seam and round it off. These need to be feathered in, and I can see already that it's going to require, there's too much on the outside and not enough on the inside. That'll require a second coat, which is okay because this will require a coat, and the tail end will require a coating. I'm gonna do that. And I need to get started on this. Fortunately, most of this is behind, so the dust and the mess it makes, and it is going to make a mess, is going to be away from all of the detail on the inside. Okay, so this is the bit I'm going to be working on. It's mostly on camera. I could probably get it down a little closer. Yeah, that'll do. Be keeping it on the bench because this is the best way to hold it. I don't know how this will turn out. If it isn't very good, I'll just keep at it until it is. So I need this flat file and these sandpaper bits. and probably the round file up here. Yeah, I put this on too thick anyway. It isn't even hard, it's just, yeah. Feathering in this deck is on the fore and the aft so that it's, well, so that it's smooth. The transition is smooth and not just an edge. Yeah, it's going to take a while, but I want to get that done before I paint it. This here is, there's a little hatch that goes over that, but the missiles go in there. And I'm actually going to have one kind of coming out at some point. But let me start with this and see how this goes. Might be fairly even. Most of this is just excess. That just, it doesn't need to be there. You can see there's a really small opening there, small gap. And most of this is just stuff that doesn't even need to be on there. It can come up like this. Need to do is be careful not to mar. I don't want to mar the missile hatches on the top. That's a really important detail because that's the whole point of the submarine, is the missile hatches, right? Back here is a little bit of a challenge, but up here it's not too bad. This is going mostly okay. Got these cotton swabs. This is just dust, but it's really annoying. I might have to wet that a little bit. I'm going to finish this part off just so I can say I have done something. It's okay if there's a little bit. I mean, this is a real special part of the hull, so it might, it's added on later, so if it shows a little bit, that's okay. But it looks like most of the work is going to be here, where the hull doesn't quite match, and then feathering these in, so... And that's going to require a second coat of filler putty. And when I put that on, after I do a little bit of manipulation today, I'll also putty in the nose. You can see the different color. That's the color it's going to get painted, and this is the color of the raw plastic. Actually, this is inset a little bit. I can live with that. This is just going to have to be Okay, we should explain at this point. This hull here is warped and is way lower than the top of the deck. I'm going to say that this is going okay, and all I've really got to worry about are these ends. Okay, the fore and the aft ends. The rest of this will look. It will look okay. It won't look great, but it'll look okay. I'm going to start with. I'm going to work on this one first because I'm right-handed. And this is easier for me. And the putty is on so thick it isn't hardened. That's not good. What I'm aiming for is basically feathering this in. I don't know how much of this I can actually use. If this were to harden, it wouldn't be too bad. I wonder if I've got some other stuff I could use too. Actually, I've got one of the things I'm thinking of is I've got spackling. That would work. Being rubbery though, I can't really feather it when it's rubbery, right? Pin. It's a pin, there it is. Just need to get some of this white speck out of there. The point of this is to just feather it down and blend it into the hull. And this putty is it's not hard. And so it's, still plastic. It needs to be hard. It just peels off. So this is not working, okay? I'll just declare this a failure here. That whatever this is not doing the job, okay? That was a failure. But I don't know if you can see it, but there's a gap here. And I got rid of like most of it. Got rid of most of the gap. by doing some manipulation of the top of the bulkhead there, but not completely. So this material that I used up here is the same as the material up front, and it has the same problem. Okay, this stuff didn't harden, it's just still soft, see? And I have the same issue here where I need to feather this in. So that there's just a smooth, so it's smooth, right? A smooth transition between the front of this piece of plastic and the rest of the hull. I'm going to get rid of this. Just get rid of it altogether here. Well, this is disappointing. I was hoping I would have it like 80% done, right? In terms of this feathering stuff. But I've got it like 0% done. So there, I've got three options really. One is I can just ignore it. 4 options, among the many options. I could just ignore it and leave it up like that, which is, I think, crappy. I can use another This is another brand of plastic of putty. This one has just all sorts of warnings on it all over the place, okay? Don't touch it. Use in a well-ventilated area. Do not use with bare hands. Apply with a spatula, with gloves. I mean, this is so, this basically says if you touch it, it'll kill you, which is why I got the other kind, which doesn't have so many warnings on it. You know that the plastic putty, oh, damn it, sorry, I used a bad word. I used the PG-13 word. I can do one of those a stream. Fortunately, this just sort of slides in. I've had it slide in several times already, and it, as you can see, it also slides out. Okay, so that other putty isn't something I can use, really, not safely. Which is unfortunate because it probably works. So this stuff will work okay in small areas. So I'm going to do a couple of things with it. I'm going to use escape. Good grief. It has this little needle nose applicator on it, but it also comes screwed. is I'm going to use it around the bow here, like I did with like the stern. When there's tiny little gaps like that, like this, it seems to work pretty well. But here it's not working, and I'm not sure. There's escape hatches here to putty around those. I think I'm not going to. Those will be... I'm probably going to tape over those and then just hand paint them. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do in an effort to salvage this submarine here. Because this deck on the fore and the aft, along here it's okay. That seam is acceptable. But on the fore and the aft, it's just like this big square thing sticking up, and that just isn't going to work. So I can either file it down, okay? I can file that edge down so that it flows, okay, in front and back. Or I can fill it in and feather it. And this putty that I was using doesn't feather. It didn't harden. So what I'm going to do, set this down for a minute, is I'm actually going to use keep this because I'm going to be using it on the bow. I'm going to use spackle. This is what people use on their walls, right? And it does harden. I'm not sure it's as smooth as I want it, but let's see. I've got two kinds of spackle. I've got high strength small hole repair. I've got this. This might have dried out. That's pretty old. That's too bad. The other stuff starts out pretty dry. Anyway, I've got nothing to lose here. I mean, I'm just going to put little bits of this on using this high-tech tool. And then attempt to sand this later. And do the easy one first. Yeah, that's great. It doesn't adhere. It doesn't stick. It just made a mess. No, those won't come out because those are... Okay, so plan B didn't work. That didn't work. Did get it all over my hands, though. Got spackle all over the place. The spackle probably would have worked, but it does not adhere to the plastic. So that was a failure. This is trash. I can throw this away. Ah, score. Nice. Got it in the trash can. This is... I'm gonna just get this poison. The poison went out here for a minute. I haven't used this in a while. I don't even know how it comes out. I know I can't touch it with my fingers because it's evil. I'm going to try this. Let me just see what happens. can smell it. I'm going to guess that this will actually work. It's really nasty. Okay. Well, things for sure. It's very hard to keep it confined to a place. What dissolves this stuff? Now, that's going to require a little bit of cleaning up. A lot of cleaning up. Okay. Coming up, I'm going to start over. There. I'm just going to start over. If I can fix the end of this. The piece did not get cemented in very well to begin with. But what I can do is, since it's off, is I can manipulate all sorts of other variables. And I'm going to throw this away. This is gross. It's so awful that I shouldn't even have it in the house. Okay, so what's going to happen is this is going to get all cleaned up. All this putty is going to come off. This comes off pretty easily because it doesn't dry. sense scratching the plastic any more than it needs to be. Okay, and after I'm done with cleaning this up, I will explain the situation and describe the options. Yeah. We'll fix this when the fixing time comes. Plastic putty. Yeah, it was nasty stuff. It just kind of messed things up here a little bit too. Hopefully I won't lose too much detail there. It looks like it's pretty thin. Be fairly invisible, but what it did was it looks like it even dissolved the plastic a little bit. Very bad. Okay, so the situation here, this is the situation, is that this deck goes here, okay, and it attaches along here fairly well, along here and here. If you can get it in there and hold it, in place. And I was able to do that. But the problem is that back here, and up in front as well a little bit, is that it's raised up above the deck, above the hull. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a ridge there. Okay, and the problem is that the hull is actually kind of warped a little bit. So what I did back here, where there was a big gap and now there's a smaller gap, is there's this. Is I actually filed down the top of this quite a lot so that the gap was smaller. There's still a gap there, and one option I looked at was putting a little wedge in here underneath the deck to push it up. Okay, just to push the deck up a little bit so that it would match. And the alternative is to keep Actually, I'm going to keep doing that because this is still higher. I'm going to keep taking some of this deck off. I'm going to keep filing that down until they match. Until when I put this in, okay, they match up. So I need to take off 1/64 of an inch maybe. I mean, it's not very much. And then I'll be able to do the filler because the gap will be really small. This did a number. That plastic putty did a number on this deck. It really, wow. That's really gross stuff. Should not have bothered with it. Fortunately, it's not the inside. It's reparable. Smooth off the surface here. I'm going to play with this just a little while, but after the break, well, we'll see. I need to cement the tail of this thing on. And then polishing where that stuff dissolves the plastic a little bit. Okay, so this is kind of a jinky kind of thing. That's not really a word. I need to basically take plastic off of this. Lean it down so that the dust comes off. Mainly downward, but I need to take off like a 64th of an inch. And I was doing okay, I took a bunch of it off before. The other thing I can do, and I might consider this, depending on how this goes, is I can take it off the bottom of this other deck. Okay, so I could do a little slot on the edge. This is easier. Easier to get to and easier to keep even. And it doesn't show. Okay, that's the other nice thing about it, is that it's not going to show once it's done. And I was doing this, and then I just said I took enough off, I'm not going to take any more, and then I stopped. The discoloration shows, but it's not. That's okay. I was just checking to see if it was a rough surface. I'm going to take actually the back corner there is hard to get to, and I want to make sure I get enough out of there. I don't want the very back, I want the back corner to be lowest, and if there's a little gap there, it's okay. But if it's raised a little higher, it'll make the whole thing difficult. So this is since the feathering didn't work, and the super poison plastic putty didn't work. Back to plan A, which is to make the bulkheads lower. I wasn't planning to do this. I was planning to be well beyond this stage. So I apologize for that, but it's still submarine Wednesday, and this is still submarine stuff. So this is getting really close. I mean, that was working pretty well. It's actually getting pretty close to flush. Done. I should have just done this to begin with. There's a tiny little ridge there yet. Probably has to do with this being, I mean, I didn't take as much off here. That's why it's showing really, is I got it there, but I haven't taken enough off here. I'm just going to play with this just a little bit more until it's really working well. See, this ends up just a little higher because this is higher here. I wasn't filing this part down. So if I can actually get this to fit, then I'll re-cement this and the tail. Just right there, and this still needs some induction along here. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the bulkhead up in front, where it also doesn't fit very well. There's a lot of dust coming off here. That's too bad, but I'll clean that up before I cement it in. Yeah, this is the thing I should have done early on. Because it's working. So the two things I did that didn't work, this turned out to be a real waste of time, didn't it? Yeah, when it gets close, and then it gets slower. Closer still. Well, thanks to everybody who's watching and what you're watching me do. Hi, it's going okay. I made some progress. I got the tail here done. This is ready to cement on to the stern of the submarine. but I'm having a real problem getting this piece of the decking to fit because it's basically the bulkheads on either side are underneath here are too high, and it doesn't match up with the rest of the hull. So I'm making them shorter by slowly and carefully filing them away and filling the interior with dust. Yep. And attempting at the same time to not break any of it. I tried a couple of things. I tried plastic putty, and then I tried super dangerous plastic putty, and that was a disaster. And now I'm going down to mechanical manipulation. Anyway, once this is on, eventually it'll fit. Okay, I need to do the same thing up in front. Eventually it'll fit. And when it fits, I'll cement it on, and I'll cement the tail on at the same time. And then it's not done yet because I need to fill in the gaps with the not super poisonous version of plastic putty. And then I'll be painting the hull. But this part I can still do. This will take me, I'm going to have to do it a little bit more after break, because this is taking longer than I was hoping. Okay. It's actually okay. So up front here, there's a gap here, and so what I need to do is the same thing I did back there, which is make this bulkhead shorter. So I need to take a good deal of plastic off of it. And I'm going to do that by being not very careful with this file and a little bit impatient. I need to take off about a 64th of an inch. This is remnant plastic putty from my effort to feather it, which failed. See how that did. I didn't take off too much, but I don't want to overdo. The stern here, it's really close. This needs to be a little bit more, and then it needs to slope down, kind of like on the other side, where more needs to come off the front than the back here. If I can get this to fit, then I can do some cementing, and depending on the time, I think I'm going to do it after the break, because I want to be a little bit more relaxed than I am now, if you know what I mean. I think you do. Before I mess around with model cement, which did not hold. So far, the success I'm having with the liquid cement has been not very good. Okay, so it's okay up here in the corner, pretty close. Yeah, more needs to come off, especially along here. This kind of slopes down a little bit, unfortunately. What I'll be doing after break, there isn't too much I can do more other than cement this in once I get it lined up where it looks okay. Okay. And then I'm going to do the unboxing of the Apollo, because that's the thing I'll be working on next, is the Apollo spacecraft stack. I had expected this part to have been done at least a half hour ago, but it's not, because, you know, things. Okay, so yeah, it's okay in the corner. It's a little bit, still a little bit here, so I need to gouge this out here. Slope it down. This is what happens when you get a poorly manufactured model from the 1960s, is that the parts just do not fit. This is okay if it's pushed down on the back. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. Up here, why? This being so uncooperative. getting so close, you know. So close to working. Part of it is just like there's this little ridge in here, right along the seam here, that's maybe causing a problem. Cleaning out the corners. Get the corners cleaned. Get this edge here clean. So much better than it was. But here, I'll just give you a tour, since I'm messing around with it. A tour of the inside of the submarine here. And after all of that, okay, after all of this interior detail and everything, this last bit decides not to fit. So yeah, this is taking as long as some of the other components of the submarine ended up taking, just because of, you know, parts not fitting. I'll mess around with this just a little bit more. And I'm going to say that's as good as it's going to get, but it's mainly right along here. Took off quite a bit. I know it's going to fit better because there's less plastic there getting in the way. And I don't know if it'll fit perfectly or not. But let's see. Let's see how it is. So this section of the hull is obviously just attached later, okay? I mean, it's just designed that way, so that there is a little bit of a gap around it. Visible isn't surprising. Yeah, what needs to happen is this bit here needs to slope down. So I need to take, this is what I need to do, is pile this down quite a lot here. And then that deck will slope down this way and match the deck on the top. It wouldn't hurt. Oh, man. Okay, I lost my reactor. That's going to have to get fixed. So yeah, I'm going to wait until after break before I do any cementing, because although I'm okay doing this right now, the cement can be a problem. I mean, bad things can happen with the model cement. And I don't want them to happen. This is where I'm glad I didn't cement these parts in, because they have to be reinstalled. Okay, I'm going to say that, it's okay actually to have a little bit of seam around this, because it's a different part of it. It's a different section of deck. This matches up, okay. This is not too bad if it's pushed down. I don't want to take more off. Okay. So what I am going to do, I'm just going to round off these edges just a little bit. Let's see again how this fits. Yeah, I'm going to say that this is as good as it's going to need to get. And that's ready to be re-cemented. Okay, so after break, this part will get cemented in. The reactor will be reinstalled into the reactor room where that cement did not hold. And then this will be attached to the stern ship like that. Okay, and then those will rest. Those will rest easily until it's time to put plastic putty on them. I think it goes this way. Leave it like this. This is the top. This side fits. It fits so much better this way. Okay. I'm going to set this down. These are the bits that need to be cleaned off and cemented on later. What did I do? Why can't I remember which is the top? So one way it fits really well. Yeah, like this. This one fits really well. Okay. I'm looking for my little fine tip pen. Okay. That X means that goes in the back, like that. All right. Yeah. So just, it looks like little disasters here and there, and there has been little disasters here and there. Okay, is that no, that's a pipe. Okay. Yeah, so this will get cemented on, this will get cemented on, this will be reinstalled. This whole section just needs to be rebuilt, kind of. Well, actually, this just goes. Oh, that even fell out. You know. There. I just put it in like that. It's going to stick. I don't have to cement it. Hey, don't fall out again. So these bits need to be cemented on. I'm going to do that after break because I need to take a break. I will be back in about a half an hour. Thanks for watching Submarine Wednesday, as it very slowly but surely gets closer to being done. This is all covered with dust and dirt anyway, but I'll cover it up anyway just to do it and get these things out of the way. Okay, I will be back in about 20-25 minutes. Okay, that took longer than I thought. A phone call came in that I needed to take, just as I was headed down. So, sometimes that's how things go, right? Best laid plans. Okay, what I wanted to do, and I will do my best to get it done, is to attach the back end of the sub here. I'll get that attached, and then attach this deck, and then there's little bits here, but those can wait for another time. Okay, the biggest problem is that this is large, and I need to be very careful in manipulating it because I don't want pieces to break off. Okay, so I marked it. This side goes here. And yeah, that fits on pretty well. Need to get liquid cement. I'm just going to let it dangle there while I apply liquid cement to the space between the parts. Push it into place. Don't touch it with my finger. There's just no room here. There's no space. Okay. All right, trying to keep it on screen and so I've got this tape here. And the idea with the tape is it's falling apart. I can't show it to you. There, I'm way back here. Attaching the stern of the submarine here. Piece it together, stick on the tape, hope it holds. This is like the third time that this whole reactor thing has fallen out. I'm just going to leave it aside until I'm done. Okay. I put it together a couple of times. It's not a real problem, but it's just the way it is when trying to get this. Damn it. when there's just no room. Okay, that's that. I need more tape. Hopefully that will hold. Sometimes I've been finding this liquid cement just isn't working on this particular model for some reason. And then this goes here, like this. It used to be. Tape down front and back, and here. So I'll be, do my best here to get the cement on the places that need to adhere. This is where I need 4 hands. Really? Just nothing. Nothing is working here. There's no place to grip it. Okay. There's no place. It's too big and it's clumsy. There's no place to grip it and hold it. Holding it there, putting some tape on. That to hold there, and then I want the same thing up here. I want that to be down like that. To pinch these bits together here. How many times I banged that tail around. I hope it's still holding. Okay. Now what I've just discovered is that this is... Dang it! Nothing is working here. Is that this isn't holding. Up here in front. Like this model cement just does not grip. Okay. So we'll see. There's a chance that when I take the tape off, that it will all come apart. That is a chance that could happen. If it stays together, that would be good. Then I will have this together. If it doesn't stay together, well, then I'll re-cement it. Sure that the tail is still on. I'm going to do that by, unfortunately, I'm going to... Okay, when you see the Apollo, you'll see that this is still holding. Nothing here has fallen off. All right. So the tail, the aft is now attached. It's almost ready to paint. When it comes time to get painting, this is attached and it's put in place well enough, I think, so that it will look okay once it's painted. The nose, the very bow of the ship is on, and this needs to be filled in and sanded. I'm not even going to bother with that because this needs to be filled in and then sanded, and this needs to be filled in and then sanded. So I'm going to do the filling in. I'm going to do the filling in part, all of them at one time. Okay. So you might have noticed that the ship isn't going to work, and it's not going to run. The ship isn't going to run because the reactor here fell out and needs to be reinstalled. It's just held in by friction, and I'm not going to bother with it at this point, because there's a chance that when I'm messing around with this, filling it in and sanding it and stuff, that it'll just fall out again. So I'm just going to take care of that once, hopefully, just one time, rather than multiple times, over and over and over again. And this didn't get sealed. That could have been a disaster as I'm waving this thing around. That would have been bad. So let me see. This needs some sanding here. Okay. Well, I think this is, I haven't disasterated anything yet. It's just been annoying. So the submarine is still mostly intact. The bow is attached and needs to be filled and sanded. This deck is now, I just have to say, as good as it's going to get. I don't know what I can do more with it. It'll be a little bit of filling in and sanding. The reactor needs to be reinstalled. This needs to be filled and sanded. That little divot there, that little dimple there, when I fill in the rest of it, I'll try to remember to fill that in, because that shouldn't be there. So after that's done, hopefully next Wednesday, I'll get to the point now where I'll be able to put these little bits back. I have to reinstall the ladder. There's a ladder that goes to the bottom of that escape hatch that has fallen off multiple times. Get that reattached, and then this whole thing will get masked. The hull everywhere, okay, will get masked very carefully, and then I'll be spray painting the outside of the hull on the other side, as well as the other hull that folds up onto it. So between now and then, whenever then is, I will be painting the fold down hull and base. I'll be doing that, and then the range of motion on this is, especially going down, it just sticks on something, but that's the way it is. So yeah, the ladder, the reactor goes in at the very, very end at the very, very last bit, the propeller will go on, and then this will be cemented onto the base with the fold-down hull. But right now, I'm going to set this aside, cover it up, try not to break anything, take the bits that have fallen off, and put them away. Hey, nothing ever goes smoothly on relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons. That's why we call it relaxing painting, because it's definitely not. It's a intentional misnomer, I believe. So here, we'll put the files in here. Got our special sandpaper. Got our little pen. Got this giant brush that out of nowhere, but was useful. Got the original instruction sheets, final assembly, and you saw that went on there, just like that little arrow goes there. This went there. These little fins go on either side. Okay, and then the whole thing gets cemented on. And there's little bits of detail, like there's a little prong on here that just snaps in place so that it rotates. Well, that little prong needs to be painted green so it doesn't show. And then these little prongs back here that hold on to the back of the hull need to be painted light blue so that they don't show behind the missile tubes. Yeah, anyway, there's still plenty of opportunity for things to go awry. Let's see if that happens. But I'm sort of cleaning up here. Yeah, relaxing painting wasn't very relaxing on Friday either, because on Monday, because I was doing some submarine work then too. And I'm really looking forward, I have to say, for that submarine to be gone, because there have been some parts of it that have just been difficult. And the very end bits, at one point it was just, sorry, I got a mess here. I have a mess. And at one point it was just, painting detail. And that was okay, figuring out how to paint little dials and having shaky hands and trying to get it, to look decent. But the assembly, cementing it together and getting it to hold has just been a chore. I might have to just invest in some sort of different model cement. Like I said, maybe it's the plastic, maybe not. I had this really cool applicator. I've used this before, okay, where it's got this needlepoint applicator, and this seems to work pretty well, except that it's got a plug in it, and I have no idea why. And that plug plugs it, and I drilled it out and pulled it out and all sorts of other stuff. But this was really working well for me until it wasn't. Maybe I'll just buy a new one. I might have just had, for some reason, I might have had a flawed thing. I'm not sure. Just trying to see, that plug just totally plugged the nozzle. It made no sense why it would do that. And so I've got this entire applicator thing that I can't use because of a flaw. I don't know why I've even been keeping it. I've drilled out this hole several times. I tried to pull the plug out, this blue plastic, and because the model cement doesn't melt as black, but it melts as blue plastic, which is in the nozzle, and it completely closed it. So this whole applicator is lost. And then, so I bought the liquid kind, which is supposed to be Yeah, this is like in contact cement. You're supposed to apply it to both surfaces and put them together. Maybe that's why it wasn't working very well. I only put it on one surface. Okay, enough of that. What I promised I would do is do the Apollo unboxing. This is the successor to Submarine Wednesday. The successor to Submarine Wednesday is going to be Apollo Wednesday. Got this really cool kit. Oh, I should show you this. If you'd been watching, you would have remembered that over there, okay, all of the paints, except maybe 5 of them, were all piled up over there, and I put them away. Ooh, let me show that to you. I put them away in this really cool paint holder thing that Alexis built. Those are PLA spools, okay, and inside she custom made these zigzaggy things, okay, with that hold to paint. She measured them and put it at just a little bit of an angle, so they tilt down so they don't fall out when they rotate. Okay, so the paints are all put away, which is good because I'm not going to be painting anything for a while. But this is another one of these. It's a big box. Move the camera way up and kind of make you motion sick here by rotating it. It's sort of down there. It's too bad we get, it's a little shiny, but it's the entire Apollo spacecraft thing. It's the escape thing, the command module, the service module, and then there's this thing. This is where the LEM was stored. Okay, and we have a little LEM model, and just like the submarine, it opens up so that you can see the inside. So this can close up and it'll look like it did when it was sitting on the top of the Saturn V. But when you open it, you can see the LEM, and the LEM comes out as a separate model. And then here's the LEM. I'm actually at some point going to try to get gold foil or gold colored foil, because that's how that was wrapped, rather than just trying to paint it gold. Okay. And so it unstacks, which is good, because unlike the submarine, which is 2 feet long, and as you can see, I was struggling with it. The command module's hatch here opens up, and there's little astronaut models. That's kind of cool. Anyway, yeah. And then the service module has a hatch on it too that opens up, and you can see all the propellant tanks and things, like the one that blew up on Apollo 13. This one isn't blown up. This one's intact. There. So when I bought this, it was still wrapped in plastic, okay? And I'm hoping it was the original, but when I opened it, you can see the box is kind of beat up, right? So that's why it was relatively inexpensive, because collectors want intact boxes. They don't want beat up boxes, but I was going to build it, so I didn't care. Anyway, open it up, and parts are still in bags. It doesn't show very well because, it's shiny, little shiny bits. But it turned out that some of the bags opened up, like this was torn open. Okay, which makes me wonder whether this kit was like opened and then resealed. I don't know. But I thought it kind of weird that this was torn open. Apparently what was in this bag which will now be got rid of, was the base. This comes with a special moon textured base. Yay. The one thing that was a little disturbing was that another one of these bags was opened and some parts had fallen off. The box is intact, though. There aren't any rips in the seams, so I'm hoping that the parts that fell off this bag, it looks like it just got bounced around, right? Like a whole lot of bouncing around and got torn open. Not that it was intentionally open, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to open these bags because I need to start building it. Lots of parts have fallen off the trees, right? And I'm prepared for that. I've got a little container here, the little parts, and I've got another container here for parts. And if there are any bigger parts, then I've got a larger container for loose parts. So this is the unboxing, and I've got the camera up as far as it can go, and I'm going to unseal. I'm going to unseal this bag here. This bag is ripped in several places. There's some really a lot of parts that off the trees, including some really delicate parts, like that little Y-shaped thing. But this there, it just fell out. This is going to go in the larger part. I don't know what these parts are for. I don't have the instructions out, but there. I'm going to take the base out. Why? Because parts are going to be falling out. And it's just giving the appearance of parts are going to be falling out of this bag, and when they do, I want them to be in the box. And this bag is very fragile. Lots of loose parts. So just like with the submarine, loose part, there's one rolling around. Loose parts are going to go in little containers, and hopefully the instructions will have clear enough pictures that I'll be able to identify what these parts are. It comes time to build it. So there's containers here, containers there that will hold parts that have fallen off the trees. As I unbox this, it is a part. Yeah, I'm just taking the plastic off because there's parts down like in the bottom of it. I can hear them rattling around. So I'm thinking one of the reasons that the box was so beat up was that it got bounced around a lot. Here's a part. Here's some parts that aren't off, including astronauts. There's the backs of astronauts. That one's wearing a LEM hat. This one, I think, is just going to be sitting in the capsule. And here's some more parts that haven't fallen off. This looks like part of the LEM. Parts that haven't fallen off there. There's a lot of parts that have fallen off. Show those to you because it's so exciting looking at fallen off parts. That, as I said, I hope I'll be able to identify from the instructions when it comes time to handle this. Oh, these are like LEM. These are like the. I can't get it up. This is like the LEM landing thing. Yeah. There's lots of these broken. Here's part of an astronaut. Yeah. It looks like the front of an astronaut. Look at this and immediately say, this is molded really poorly. That astronaut has. The astronaut's kind of a mess. I continue to hold everything over the box in case anything falls off. And if it does, that would not be happy. This is definitely part of the landing bit. And it's got brown on it. That's not good. I wonder what that's about. Yeah, I'll put that up here. I need to get the plastic bag out at some point. Part of a service module. Oh, that's a nozzle. That's cool. That's a nozzle for the main motor in the service module. Here's a tree with a lot of parts broken. Okay, so it's getting to the point where I'm just going to kind of fish around down here. This is really exciting, isn't it? Whoa, look at that. That's really good molding, isn't it? Look at that. The mold, two parts of the mold did not come together, and there's all this stuff all around it. Yeah, that's messy. So this is going to be like just as much fun assembling this as the submarine. All the parts fell off of that. Here's a bunch of little parts. These are like reactor jets, and there are 2 of them missing. That's not good. I hope they're in here somewhere. There they are. The parts that were missing. Wishbones, those are delicate. I'm sure one or more of those is going to get broken. That'll be decent and pleasant. Here's part of an astronaut standing up. This is probably the guy who is wearing the backpack. Now this model apparently just got bounced around a lot. Here's a piece of a tank. Here's a tank. But I need to get the plastic out of here. Just keep stacking these up. Why not? Cool piece. That's going to be fun to paint. With these, those things will get metallic. I know what this is. That showed up on the picture on the front. Let's just say a whole lot of small pieces, a whole lot of little pieces fell off. Just bounced around a lot. And it doesn't look like anyone took them off. It looks like they just got banged around enough. So I'm hoping that these containers of little bits hold all the little bits that I need. Like if you look at this, okay, you can see that there used to be a whole lot of other pieces attached to this. And I'm hoping that those little pieces are in these containers. I know I didn't drop any on the floor. Not yet anyway. That'll happen at some point during the assembly of this model. You know that will happen, but that's what's left of the plastic bag. checking it like 6 times over to make sure that there's no teeny little part missing somewhere. Because there are teeny parts. I mean, look at that. Like right there. That's a teeny part. Okay, I'm going to rearrange these a bit. Take out the really large pieces. And I'm going to try to set these flat. Smaller pieces, I'm going to try to set them flat in the bottom of the box so that you don't have more unfortunate breakage. So there we are. There's a whole bunch of parts, most of which are not attached to the trees anymore. Some of which still are. Yeah. And there's 2 of these. I hope they're in here. There's one of them at least. If anything's missing, if there's like 6 of them and 1 of them is missing, I know Alexis can fabricate them on the 3D printer. So far I found, a couple of pieces that I knew were missing. I'm a little worried about these things, whatever they are. But, there's 6 of them, so if I'm missing 2, they're in here. At least one of them. So I'll leave these open as long as they're safely inside this box. Really annoying just brown inside the box. Get a little piece of paper towel and just because I'm annoyed by it. See if it wipes off. Yeah, whatever it is, it comes off. It'll have to come off cleanly before I prime it. This looks like the base of the lem here. This is the thing that's covered in gold foil. I'm going to try to do that. That'll be fun to do. Yeah, this is reminding me a lot of the submarine in that there's parts that are off the trees, they're just flopping around in the box. Unlike the submarine, I've only got 1 model. With the submarine, I had 3 of them, and I used all parts from all 3. Eventually ended up using parts from all 3 to make it 1. No camera movement here. Just cleaning the brown stuff off. Clean it even further a little bit later, but there. There's some big pieces. Okay, and then another bag. This bag also has a bunch of parts that are loose. Probably because it got banged around all over the place. It's punctured here. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to open the bag. I'm actually going to use scissors here. I'm going to split this open right along here at the top. I'm like doing... Okay, there's loose parts, so let's uncover these containers. There's the backs of 3 astronauts. All 3 of them sit inside the command module here, and this hatch opens so that if you were very careful, you could peer in and see the 3 of them sitting there. Those are just their backs. I hope they're up front somewhere because, otherwise they're going to look pretty hollow. That's a nice big part. That's big enough. I mean, that's the very, very bottom of it. This is the base of the base. And then the LEM container. This is one of the fold down panels on the LEM container. There's supposed to be 4 of them. Sits on top of that. That looks like maybe the heat shield. Those are rocket parts. Here. Okay, there are 4. They're kind of nested with each other. That's okay. With the flashing. Okay, here come parts. You know, the fronts of the astronauts, all 3 fronts of the astronauts come off the trees. They can sit in each other's laps like that. That's cool. Yeah, we got some round bits. Got another round bit. Got a bit. Bunch of little parts here. Be very careful and find them. Some of them might be parts, some of them might just be, I don't know, bits of plastic that broke off. There's the hatch. That's the hatch to the command module. That's a good thing to have. Doesn't have any window on it. I wonder if there was supposed to be any clear bits. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like trash, but I'm going to keep it anyway. Ooh, that's the very top of the escape module. There, that's an important part. These are the instructions. Keep those. Make sure there's nothing buried in them. Oh, there's lots of steps. Great. Well, I have to read this to you. This is pretty weird. The Apollo story. Ooh, what's this? This is a piece of tissue. That in a little envelope or something. Well, this will be like the submarine, I guess, in that there's lots of parts, mostly little ones. Yeah, you could tell that this box got banged around a lot. I'm just opening these up to make sure that nothing is caught inside of them. Look, they really did. They did include it. They included the gold foil. Absolutely, totally cool. And it's okay if it's wrinkled because it was wrinkled on the Apollo. And there's, in case you didn't know where it was from, decals that go on it. I didn't know that they included the gold foil. That is so cool. That'll be interesting. Oh great. This is showing you how the parts were supposed to be attached to the sprues, but they're not. Okay, well, this isn't really helpful. I mean, I guess I can find these pieces. They're numbered, but a lot of them are broken off. I know where that piece is. I found that one. And I've seen these sitting around. So it looks like the The escape tower is the first thing to be put together. That's good. And then the inside of the command module, oh, those have all sorts of little dials and display buttons and everything on it. What would be really neat is if there was like an overlay. I know sometimes on the aftermarket you can get these for like the control panels of airplanes and stuff, where you can apply them instead of trying to have to paint all of that. But no, not here. And then there's 3 of these astronaut guys, and they go on couches in front of another panel. So the interior of this is supposed to all be painted, right? There's supposed to be some clear parts. There's windows. There's supposed to be windows for the command module, and I didn't see any clear parts. Look at this again. I hope those aren't missing. There's not very much of them, but it would be really good to have them. Okay, well, these instruction manuals, I don't know, leave something to be desired. And then there's supposed to be some sort of clear material that you cut out for the LEM as well. You have to go through this because it's like something's missing. Okay, well, like what it was there was clear material attached to like this tissue. I got this gold foil detail. Sorry for muttering to myself, but it's like something important is missing here. And I'll have to go through this box again to see where it might be. But the clear parts, the windows, are missing. The windows for the command module and the window material for the LEM. In here somewhere. Well, just keep us searching here. Now, unless somebody took this apart and resealed it, I don't know why they would bother doing that, but that's possible. It looks like this is, it's supposed to be all here. Yeah, well, I guess I'll find out as I'm building it. But it's pretty clear. What's clear is that the clear parts are missing. And I think they were associated with this tissue somewhere. Anyway, I'm going to go through this again, because that would not be good. I mean, those would be hard to replace, I think. But I didn't see anything. I didn't see it fall out anywhere. Anyway, there's parts of the escape module. There's 3 of these. There's another one of these somewhere in here. You know, what I need, what I should have, what I really should have is like a big clean work surface so I could take all this apart, cut it out. So usually with the clear part, there's usually another little envelope, you know, another little plastic container thing that has the clear parts in them so that they don't get scratched up. But there isn't one. So I'm wondering if I got, you know, taken to the cleaners a little bit here with this beast, in that it was opened and then resealed. I might have to go looking online for the clear parts. The little windows is really a pain. I can't believe they're missing. To find the clear parts to the command module on the LEM. I'm just rooting around, and I mean, I would see it, right? There would be a little separate plastic envelope that would have the clear parts in them, and that bit seems to be missing. There's a lot of parts here. I'm hoping they're all here. If not, this might end in tears. I don't know. That would be sad. Anyway, I'm putting stuff back in after having taken it all out. No, don't do that. Don't go out of your way to put all the parts in little containers and then dump it. Sorry. It's just that kind of, you know, everything's like that all the time. What the heck? I'm going to close these, because these are the parts that fell off the trees. And the point of putting them in the containers is for them to not be lost. Yeah. Okay, I found one part. Here's the plastic, clear plastic. I'm gonna look at the instructions. I know this is supposed to go for the LEM. This goes for the LEM. It's supposed to be cut out of here, but there's way too much of it. So I'm wondering, okay, this is good that I'm finding this. I'm wondering though whether the idea is to cut out all the clear parts. Let me go back to the instructions. Instructions here. Yep. Okay. Yeah. This. Oh, okay. There's two things. There's a moon thing and a not moon thing, and I hadn't noticed this before. But there's actually two here. There's the moon thing. So when you're on Earth, the entire stack, this entire thing, okay, here stands on here. But then if you're landing on the moon, your LEM goes here. That's cool. I hadn't seen that. I just was looking at the instruction manual, the parts manual here. And yeah, there's two bases here, and oh, they're good. There's a color chart. Here's a color chart. It's got 10 colors on it. 10 colors on it. That's not too bad. I'm looking at this. This is showing me where the parts are supposed to be and how they're supposed to be set up. And I don't see a sprue with clear parts on it. Aren't they all just the white ones? And that's just got banged around a lot, and a lot of the parts that fell off. But these are all the white parts. Let me see what's up with the command module, because there's enough clear material there. Yeah, it sure makes it look like these windows. Oh, no. Okay, duh. I was right. So this is a challenge. They are challenging us. Yay. Okay, this little piece of flexible clear plastic here needs to be cut out like this. This is the window pattern, especially the circular one. And then those, they make it look like there's plastic, but they're not. Scissors, window pattern, I have noticed that before, come out of here. And they need to be a lot closer together, because if there isn't enough of these for the LEM window pattern later, then there's an issue. So this is a really important thing here. I'm going to get a Ziploc bag. Way too big for what I need, but that's just going to get bounced around and made a mess of. Let me put this in here. I think I'll put the decals in here as well. Because those are going to get lost somewhere along the line. Set them carefully down in the bottom of the Ziploc bag, and Ziploc the Ziploc bag, and put the Ziploc bag carefully somewhere where it won't get unzipped. In fact, I'm going to very carefully just fold it up like this so it doesn't get bounced around, and put it in the parts tray. The parts tray there. Okay, well, this has been fun muttering about. Yeah, the gold foil was a nice surprise. Discovering that the windows weren't missing, but that they are going to have to be hand trimmed out of a little piece of plastic. It's like putting together an old balsa wood and tissue model. Yeah, there we are. And the instructions refer to numbers of things, which maybe I will find or not. The molding quality of this is pretty mediocre indeed. And I'm trying to look at the color chart here. The colors are marked by letters. Okay. So there's a little spot here, a tiny little spot that has to be black, and a little line that has to be silver. I'm confused. It looks like there's a hatch. There's a hatch, an opening hatch on the top of the escape module to show the inside, which is nothing. just so weird. Oh, that's good. Yeah, so these nozzles here, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, at least three of them are on the spruce, so that's good. So I'll be able to match them up. If they're not matched up correctly, then there's a problem. Okay, yeah, well, G. Okay, this is a painting instruction like the submarine. So the inside of the command module, okay, this whole thing, this is the painting instruction. Paint the whole thing light blue. What? And then what? And then lose the detail? Lose the detail on the control panels and everything? Why? What is F? Gold. No, silver. D, E, F. F is gold. And E. Silver, okay. So these are like ventilation tubes or something that go underneath the seats. But I'm going to have to check out the control panels to see what kind of detail there is on there. I'm not going to just paint them light blue. It's like on the submarine, it says the bulkhead, just paint it green. Yeah, why? Just paint it green. Oh, this is clever. This is fun. So, whatever color G is, let's see what G is. Back and forth. G, yeah, G is light blue. So I'm supposed to paint the couches all light blue. And then the top of the helmet, it just says star. There's a star at the top of it. What does that mean? What are you supposed to do with the star? Really? What color is star? Yeah, here too, star. There must be something somewhere that explains what the little star is, because it's not on the color chart. Oh yeah, they very helpfully give you detailed painting instructions for the base. There's a white frame. The moon is gray. Yep. So the moon is gray with a white frame. But on Earth, it's, that's supposed to be the ocean? It's supposed to be painted green, light blue, like the inside of the capsule. I'm just wondering to myself, this is fascinatingly useless in some ways. I'm going to have to get like some pictures of the inside of the Apollo space capsule. I'm really seriously going to have to get some pictures to figure out what is going on. J and G. J is white. Okay, that makes sense. G is light blue. There's a lot of light blue. I is the face. Here, pointing toward the face, and I is flesh. Huh. Yeah, paint the face's flesh color. Okay. Well, it looks like this model is here. I've been able to find almost everything that I was afraid I would be missing, and I haven't dropped anything on the floor. I'm discovering that the painting instructions, like the painting instructions for the submarine, are almost worthless. It doesn't tell you what color to paint the whole outside of it. I'm looking for that. It tells you how to paint the detail kind of stuff, but it doesn't tell you what color to paint the entire thing on the box top. It's kind of like a tan color, and I think it's light brown. H. H maybe. The colors are supposed to be in these little flags, you know. So there's blacks and there's silver, but they don't give you the color for the whole outside of it. I'm going to have to find I'm probably going to just use spray paint rather than the airbrush, because I'm not good at airbrushing at all, just absolutely not. And I'll just get some good model paint and find out what color matches the box top. Fortunately, the first thing that's painted or put together is the escape tower, and the escape tower is some little fiddly cementing, a lot of little fiddly cementing, and then parts that come together that'll have to be sanded and filed and things so that the seams don't show. And then I'll have to get some paints for that. And then the command module, I might not do the command module second, even though it says to do it. And the reason I might not do that is because it's difficult. Yeah, that's fair, right? I might just do the service module. The service module looks like it's something I could do, so I might do that second. Okay, that goes on and on and on. Oh yeah, so we got astronauts. Oh, the standing astronaut goes inside the LEM where they should be standing. The LEM looks like fun to put together, where the gold foil goes on. It would be nice if they gave a little bit of hint, just a hint of a suggestion about how to apply the gold foil, even how to trim it. It says it's helpful. Gold foil goes around the outside of this piece here, around the outside of that, but it doesn't tell you how to attach it. So that's helpful. This is an outside the LEM astronaut. That's pretty cool. And then it all stacks together like that. It just stacks together. Anyway, this is going to take forever. This should take really forever to get done. So you can do the entire mission with your model. Okay, you take off. This is cool. This is at liftoff, and then when it's done, okay, that's the reason these open up at the top, is the hatches actually do open, because you don't want this whole thing to shoot. That rocket's powerful enough to take the entire capsule, the command module. So there's little rocket motors up here that this opens up and takes that away. And then this cap comes off the command module, right? And then just like for the real thing, you can separate the service module and command module, flip it over and attach it to the dock of the LEM, okay? And then you can pull the LEM out of its housing, which is really cool, and then detach it and land the LEM on the moon, and then detach the ascent stage from and attach it back to the Apollo thing there, and then detach the command module. And they don't have parachutes, but then it can land. Yeah, so you can play with this when it's done. When the whole thing is done, you can play with it and reenact the entire Apollo mission. That's pretty cool. So it looks like it's all here. There were a couple of surprises, mainly because of the messes it is. But I don't think I lost anything. I haven't dropped anything, little parts in here. Yeah, there's the heat shield. This will be really interesting to build. I will need to find the correct color for the outside and the inside of these panels so I can spray paint them at some point. But finding the gold foil, that's really cool. The instructions, I would say, are like almost totally inadequate. I mean, they're really not helpful. So and then there's a whole story here about the Apollo. So if I decide that I don't really feel like building a model, I can read this to you. This was published originally in 1969 and reprinted in 1982. Look at it. This is a cool thing. I could read it. It comes with real pictures of things. An astronaut in a harness so that it can simulate 1/6 gravity. A cutaway model of the stack of the lunar module and the service module and everything, including the service module engine. A little circle. That's good. A circle around the moon so you know that it's orbiting. It's always important to have a picture with a circle in it. But yeah, here's the escape tower. That's why there were hatches and little bits of rocket motor at the top, because it actually got pulled away. Yeah, it talks about the different modules. It shows pictures of simulated pictures of of bits and pieces on the moon and coming back, and then heat. In a masterful feat of mathematical computation, the guidance system does its job. See, that's the kind of thing, they really knew how to write that kind of stuff back in the 60s. Oh, no, I'm not going to read that until later. That's going to be a fun thing to read. Okay, so there's a whole little crumpled booklet about the Apollo story. It's no longer confined to the world of his birth. By virtue of his own ingenuity, man, there's no women involved here, has bridged the void of space and walked upon another world. That's writing at its best. Okay, I've got the transparencies that needs to be very carefully trimmed in the Ziploc bag. I've got the gold foil. I've got the not very helpful instructions with the really crappy painting instructions. And I've used up my time, but we've unboxed. I have successfully unboxed the bits, all these bits. Tiny, this mess of parts, including all the mess of parts that have fallen off. Yeah, that's it. It's a mess. It's going to be quite an adventure of putting this together. So the command module is going to be last, I think, or maybe in the middle or something, because it's got doesn't look like it's got detail on it. Control panel. Seriously? That would be really disappointing if that's the case. Maybe you can't see inside well enough. No. 19, 20, 18, 19, 20. I think that's what these are. Yeah, there's no detail on the control panels. Well, wait. Oh my. Oh. Okay. That's not good. The detail on the control panels, I don't know if you can see it. You have to see it. You have to catch the light just right. They're tiny little raised lines that, they were literally invisible until I took my glasses off to look at them. with oblique lighting. I am going to look. I'm going to look to see if they have control panel. Sometimes you can get these things where the control panels are, it's an aftermarket thing. Look for that. See if there's a control panel like decal or sometimes it's like a decal. Sometimes it's like a really thin plastic, kind of like the transparent parts of the plastic were. Okay, anyway, there's that. I'm going to put this back in here so everything's all in one box. And next week, Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a little bit of submarine work because there just is more submarine work to do. It'll be really, really annoying stuff that has to be done yet. But it's getting close to being finished. And then I'll be finding the parts for the escape tower, which is upside down because I flip it around. So next week, Wednesday, I'll be finding the parts for this here, the escape tower. Okay. And putting them in a parts tray. All right, so now I need a safe place to put this. Until I see it off. But thanks for watching. There a little bit of submarine work got done. A little bit of submarine work got undone and redone. But it's better than it was before. Hopefully it will stay that way. I'll be back on Monday at more or less 10 o'clock. And I will be continuing work on the lute-playing goose. Don't ask. You just have to come back. The only way you can find out really is to come back on Monday and watch, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Thanks again. Really appreciate your attention. Sorry the break took a little longer than I wanted to. This has been Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons. And we had an Apollo unboxing that took longer than I thought because... Anyway, I needed to find things, and it was a mess, and that wasn't a surprise. So, yeah, I'm done. I will see you on Monday. No, duh, it's only Wednesday. I will see you on Friday. I just lost my presence and time and place. Well, I'm in this place, and I remembered it's Wednesday, so I will be back on Friday. Friday, not Monday. Well, Monday too, but Friday at more or less 10 while I start resuming work on the lute-playing goose. So thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me as I totally lost what day it was and what was going on. But now I remember, so I'll be able to get through the rest of the day. See ya.